Restored Republic Update, Sunday, November 16, 2025. Judy style intel drop. One day before full QFS ignition. What unfolded today no longer fits the category of news. It is the final movement in the reconstruction of the planet. At 5:44 a.m. EST, military units were seen forming unusual patterns around the capital. Internal sources confirmed, sealed files begin opening tonight. A suspended congressional aide added, the first list contains at least 112 names. Some are among the most recognizable people in America. Around 8 a.m., all 72 Starlink Layer 4 satellites shifted into synchronized alignment. An engineer at Boca Chica admitted, "We're not updating the internet, we're rerouting the entire communication grid." A QFS insider summarized, "Today is the final rehearsal. When the 3 short tones and 1 long tone sound, EBS goes live." Early this morning, the Treasury posted, then deleted within 17 minutes, a technical update under Sovereign Asset Reconciliation. Screenshot shows the phrase, National Asset Valuation aligned to Q standard metrics. Translation, the old system is preparing to shut down. Baghdad Intel at 9:12 a.m. The Finance Committee has signed the final certification, domestic rate locked. A market specialist noted, Forex freezing like this is unheard of. It only happens before structural shock events. 5 German banks, 1 Belgian, and 1 Austrian institution declared temporary technical closures. But internal staff leaked the truth. It's not technical. They're being forcibly synced to QFS. ECB held an emergency closed-door meeting with no statement. A participant messaged out, "The chain reaction has started." At least 19 devices belonging to senior DHS and DOJ officials were remotely shut off at 11:03 a.m. A witness inside a federal building stated, "It looked like a legal seizure, except no court ordered this." A spokesperson told reporters, "We are transitioning command frameworks to preserve national integrity." Decoded. Control is preparing to shift. Classic Judy theme. Military is the only way. An analyst monitoring the chatter whispered, "We've entered the silence before the storm." Most centers issued a Stage 4 standby order. Employees report, "We were told to stay after hours and keep phones in hand." Some described internal loudspeaker alerts. Sent at 2:16 p.m. We are inside the activation window. Everything will shift at once. Prepare. Summary. Today is the day the final thread loosened. No official statements, no public admissions. Yet every agency, bank, satellite, and communication channel is standing in its assigned position. Only the signal remains. President Trump signed the Nassara Bill, restoring constitutional governance and initiating nationwide debt forgiveness, according to whistleblower Julian Assange. He added, the following day, Thursday, November 13, 2025, the quantum financial system global currency reset synchronization would be completed, enabling the full activation of the gold-backed quantum financial system and dismantling elite-controlled banking networks. On that same Wednesday, November 12th, Q stated, "Put an end to the endless income tax." And President Trump was preparing to do exactly that. See below. The privately owned U.S. Incorporated's federal income tax was tied to the fiat U.S. dollar, while President Trump's external income tax system would rely on a gold-backed U.S. note. Passed by Congress on July 2, 1909, and ratified on February 3, 1913, The 16th Amendment granted Congress the authority to impose a federal income tax, an opening that allowed the Illuminati deep state cabal to continually drain national wealth and trap citizens in perpetual debt. By 2008, that cabal had extracted the nation's money, depleted its gold reserves, and was unable to pay interest on gold borrowed from the Chinese elders to create the U.S. financial system. As a result, the private corporation known as U.S. Incorporated's Federal Reserve went bankrupt. Congress had long abandoned passing or honoring functional budgets, and they allowed the Federal Reserve to print unlimited fiat U.S. dollars without restraint. It was inevitable that the U.S. economy would collapse. The Chinese elders refused to renew their gold contracts. President Trump, meanwhile, worked steadily to end the federal income tax and instead created an external income tax system to fund the government through tariffs and a 14% tax on new items only, without taxing food or medicine. On January 15, 2025, the corporate facade of the 1871 U.S. Incorporated was shattered when President Trump signed executive orders restoring constitutional sovereignty to America. This meant the Republic for the United States of America returned to operation under the principles of the original Constitution, and the Illuminati-controlled District of Columbia Corporation was set to be dissolved. On February 28, 2025, Trump signed Executive Order 6102, reversing the deep state's gold confiscation. National reserves were reallocated to support a reborn fiat-free currency in the restored republic. In preparation for this new system, by May 2025, high-level legal entities began transitioning from maritime law back to common law. On May 16, 2025, President Trump signed JASER into law, marking the start of the most profound financial and political transformation in modern history. Early in 2021, Trump had ordered the retrieval of 650 plane loads of gold hidden beneath the Vatican. This gold was transferred to the new U.S. Treasury, located on sovereign Native American land near Reno, Nevada. With that gold, along with other stolen U.S. funds and assets recovered from Illuminati-aligned foreign bankers, Trump would be able to return taxpayer wealth back to the American people. Furthermore, the fiat U.S. dollar had now been replaced with a gold-backed U.S. note through the global currency reset orchestrated by BRICS nations and the Global Military Alliance. The Republic for the United States of America was now fully funded by its own gold and asset-backed U.S. note. As of Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, because Congress failed, or perhaps intentionally refused, to pass a budget, the privately owned foreign banker-controlled U.S. Incorporated became defunded and automatically ceased operation. Group intelligence reports stated, by Friday, November 7th, 2025, every major broadcast network, social media platform, and global communication grid had come under the controlled oversight of the Global Military Alliance via the new Starlink satellite system. On Monday, November 10th, 2025, under President Trump's leadership and with the Global Military Coalition, the takedown was complete. Commander-in-Chief President Donald Trump had lawfully reestablished the Republic for the United States of America, grounded once again in the principles of the original Constitution. It marked the dawn of a new era and the closure of another, a transformation long orchestrated in secrecy over generations, guided by the same military alliance that avenged Lincoln and carried forward Kennedy's unfinished mission. That alliance had engineered a Hollywood-level production complete with actors, clones, masks, and a fabricated White House stage. Their movie had now concluded, and reality was finally taking hold. Trump would soon activate the emergency broadcast system and declare to the people of the world, checkmate. It was all about the Republic for the United States of America. The restored republic interim government stands as the lawful mechanism through which the American people can unite to fill the long vacant seats of our de jure government. Its guidelines ensure steady growth and education, followed by a deliberate transition back to constitutional governance. This requires reseating each de jure state under the framework of the Northwest Ordinance of 1787. Click here for more information on how you can take part. From George Washington's Farewell Address, 1796. Cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be able to subvert the power of the people and to usurp for themselves the reins of government, destroying afterwards the very engines which have lifted them to unjust dominion. The spirit of encroachment tends to consolidate the powers of all departments in one, and thus to create, whatever the form of government, a real despotism. Executive Summary for the Republic. It has been over 224 years since President Washington issued that warning in unmistakable language about the abusive forces who would one day attempt to destroy the American representative republic. It has taken a long, grueling process to bring us to the present moment in America. The people have realized that the Constitution was quietly subverted and bypassed, transforming our governance from a representative republic into a corporate democracy without our knowledge or consent. And so the American people lawfully and peacefully reclaimed their representative republic through the declaration of sovereign intent and the proclamation of claim and right of interest, thereby re-inhabiting the Republic for the United States of America. This is the original Republic, the one to which we pledge our allegiance every time we honor our flag. Americans have come to see how the deep state inflicted harm on them and on nations across the world. We want Americans to know that many loyal patriots are working to expose the unlawful operations of the deep state and the corporations tied to it. Our objective is to stabilize America and its economy, with the intent of liberating Americans and people worldwide from despotic control. The American people had hoped President Donald J. Trump would secure a second term and fulfill his inaugural promise to return power to the people. Today's ceremony has a very special meaning because today we are not merely transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C. and giving it back to you, the American people. President Trump's inaugural words could mean only one thing. He was working to complete the mission of Presidents Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, the restoration of the Republic. Both presidents were assassinated before they could complete the transition. Trump was obstructed by deep state operatives. Americans now face full despotism, essentially a third term of President Obama, who is rapidly dismantling both American life and the American people. About the Republic for the United States of America. A possible timeline follows. At 9 a.m. EST on Thursday, November 6, 2025, the quantum override sequence was authorized. At 23:11 Zulu time, the signal was transmitted from the Cheyenne Mountain Command Complex. From that moment onward, global data systems began syncing to the quantum financial system. On Wednesday, November 12, 2025, Trump signed the Nassara Bill, restoring constitutional governance and initiating nationwide debt forgiveness. On Thursday, November 13, 2025, quantum financial system rollout synchronization completed across U.S. departments, enabling the full activation of the gold-backed quantum financial system and dismantling elite-controlled banking circuits. On Friday, November 14, 2025, after the global currency revaluation rollout, reinforced by BRICS integration and Tier 4B code activation, trillions in liquid funds would hit the markets. Saturday, November 15, 2025, congressional hearings began concerning the Clinton Foundation corruption files, uncovering Obama-era cover-ups and foreign bribes. On Saturday, November 22, 2022, all banks worldwide would convert to digital ISO 2002 gold/asset-backed currency, according to an official memo issued on November 9, 2025. Thursday, November 27, 2025, Thanksgiving. The Restored Republic announcement would follow after White Hats secured economic sovereignty when 8 Democrats defected and ended shutdown attacks on the quantum financial system. B. What we believe we know as of Thursday, November 13, 2025. The final stage of global transformation has begun. What we are witnessing is not another political cycle, but a complete reset of the financial, medical, judicial, and spiritual systems of Earth. Passed by Congress on July 2, 1909, and ratified February 3, 1913, the 16th Amendment gave Congress the authority to impose a federal income tax and endlessly drain our wealth for their own enrichment. President Trump has worked tirelessly to end this system. Many steps are required, and he continues to take them to abolish the federal income tax. It will happen. This is precisely why he created the External Revenue Service. See Global Currency Reset, Duty Note. In my personal opinion, though I could be wrong, when the EBS sounds with the resonance of 7 trumpets, we can expect several messages on our mobile phones transmitted through the new Starlink satellite system. One of these messages should include instructions on how to obtain a redemption center appointment. Those without foreign currency will use their appointment to establish their new banking setup. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. Iraq's green light. Tom Sealiff on X. This is the green light to proceed. You are free to disagree with me. Wednesday, November 12, 2025 marks a point where 2 Indian Nation contacts told me nearly identical updates. One said tribal payments were imminent. Another said their tribe expected its payout later in the week. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. Julian Assange. On Wednesday, November 12, 2025, Trump signed the NASARA bill, restoring constitutional governance and initiating nationwide debt forgiveness. On Thursday, November 13, 2025, quantum financial system rollout synchronization would complete across U.S. departments, enabling full activation of the gold-backed quantum financial system and dismantling elite banking circuits. On Friday, November 14, 2025, after completion of the global currency revaluation rollout, supported by BRICS integration and Tier 4B code activation, trillions in liquid capital would hit the markets. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. QFS bombshell. Inside the quantum financial system and the global currency reset plan from central banks to quantum banking. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. Redemption centers go live. Banks and redemption facilities activated. 3 U.S. states quietly begin IQD and VND exchanges. Tier 4B RV update. The reset has already begun behind the scenes. Tuesday, November 11, 2025. GCR Tier 4B codes went live. The system is in motion. Commander-in-Chief President Donald Trump had lawfully reestablished the Republic for the United States of America, grounded once again in the principles of the original Constitution. Tier 4B codes go live as the global currency transition begins. Restored Republic. On Monday, November 10, 2025, the global reset was underway. NASARA JASARA QFS platform activated. The final phase of the world's transformation has begun. What we are witnessing is not another political event. It is the complete reset of Earth's financial, medical, judicial, and spiritual systems. The old structures that enslaved humanity are being dismantled in real time. The plan is active. The liberation of the planet is in motion. The satanic network that fed on humanity for centuries is collapsing. The Vatican Bank, the Bank of London, and the CIA-managed laundering routes through NASA and U.S. Incorporated have all been frozen under quantum command. The dark economy has vanished. Behind the silence of this blackout, the world is being rewritten. At 9 a.m. EST on Thursday, November 6, 2025, the quantum override sequence was authorized. At 2311 Zulu time, the signal was transmitted from the Cheyenne Mountain Command Complex. Since that moment, all global data systems have been syncing to the quantum financial system. When the master switch flips, 3 short tones followed by 1 long, every television, radio, and internet frequency will merge into a single broadcast. The emergency broadcast system will take over every device on Earth. What follows will be the unveiling of truth, global corruption, human trafficking, and the financial enslavement that defined the old world. Every verified citizen will receive a QFS card via the Starlink satellite network. These accounts are already prepared, funded by recovered wealth stolen by the cabal's central banks. This is the true Jasara distribution, humanity's inheritance returned to its rightful owners. On Thursday, November 13th, 2025, QFS synchronization completes across U.S. departments, enabling full activation of the gold-backed quantum financial system and dismantling elite-controlled banking circuits. On Friday, November 14th, 2025, following Tier 4B code activation, the global currency revaluation rollout, bolstered by BRICS integration, delivers a shock to the markets. Saturday, November 15th, 2025. Congressional hearings begin on the Clinton Foundation corruption files, exposing Obama-era cover-ups and foreign bribes. Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. 250 former officials, Supreme Court justices, and DOJ lawyers are detained for treason in Gitmo tribunals. Thursday, November 27th, 2025. Thanksgiving. Restored Republic announcement follows after White Hat's secure economic sovereignty when 8 Democrats defect and end shutdown assaults on the quantum financial system. By mid-December 2025, Gitmo tribunals overflow as VIP arrests escalate, including 213 global bankers detained in military raids and 2,900 executions carried out across 71 nations. By December 2025, deep state operatives face nationwide exposure as 31 states enact Clear Skies legislation, triggering federal arrests for geoengineering crimes and atmospheric warfare. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. How Trump broke the congressional stalemate. Group Truth details. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. Breaking overnight intel drop. Democrat civil war erupts. Trump moves to kill the filibuster. Deep state fractures. Shutdown shifts into execution phase. Intel drop / November 12, 2025. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. Scoop. FBI file bombshell reveals $10 million Biden bribe, igniting a national corruption scandal. Congress must act. Impeach Joe Biden. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. National Security Emergency. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. QFS bombshell, inside the quantum financial system and the global currency reset plan from central banks to quantum banking. Wednesday, November 12, 2025. Redemption centers go live, banks and redemption facilities activated. 3 U.S. states quietly begin IQD and VND exchanges. Tier 4B RV update. The reset has already begun behind the scenes. Tuesday, November 11, 2025. GCR Tier 4B codes went live. The system is in motion. Commander-in-Chief President Donald Trump had lawfully re-established the Republic for the United States of America, grounded once again in the principles of the original Constitution. CCP-linked entities quietly acquiring land beside the U.S. B-2 bomber base, shell companies, fraud trails, and a wall of silence. Wednesday, 12th of November 2025. Codename Atmospheric Control, Weaponizing the Sky. DARPA, the DoD, and the shadow geopolitics behind weather warfare exposed. The DARPA files revealed. Tucker Carlson breaks it down. Wednesday, 12th of November, 2025. Obama erupts in fury after Senator John Kennedy uncovers the $500 million Obama Foundation slush fund scandal. Charlie Ward and team weigh in. Chaos tore through Capitol Hill today when Senator John Kennedy, RFLA, delivered a blistering 47-minute takedown during a Senate appropriations hearing, accusing the Obama Foundation of running the slickest money laundering loop since Capone's war years. Armed with newly declassified IRS audits and whistleblower evidence, Kennedy exposed over $500 million in donor funds funneled into undocumented global initiatives with zero paper trail. A $740,000 annual salary to Valerie Jarrett, while the Presidential Center sat half-built for 8 years. Only $1 million placed into the promised $470 million Taxpayer Protection Fund meant to cover public parkland overruns, and a suspicious $93 million in consulting fees routed to companies tied to Obama campaign bundlers. "This ain't a foundation," Kennedy drawled. "This is a personal ATM dressed up as charity." 20 minutes later came the explosion. Former President Barack Obama, attending a nearby democracy forum, was handed a phone streaming Kennedy's remarks. Witnesses say he turned purple with rage, slammed his fist down so hard the microphone fell, and shouted, "They are weaponizing audits against legacies," before storming out mid-panel. Obama Foundation CEO Robin Stephan issued a frantic denial. "Every penny is accounted for. This is pure political theater." But Kennedy kept going. "If everything's clean, why'd y'all fight the IRS for 3 years to bury these books?" Sources confirm DOJ is now reviewing criminal referral paperwork. The Obama Center, already $300 million over budget and years behind, has officially become Washington's hottest scandal. The Simpsons warned America about this date, Wednesday, 12th of November 2025, in a 1998 episode, followed by multiple future references. In The Last Day of Springfield, everything goes dark on this exact date. No power, no cars, even Homer's plant shuts down. Will it happen today? Yesterday, the White House press secretary dropped a cryptic warning. "This game is over, patriots. The financial system crashes tomorrow." In Iraq, elections concluded. A Sudani victory expected. The new Iraqi dinar rate was scheduled to appear on the Forex front screens on Wednesday, 12th of November, 2025. But the final word on the world's fate for November 12th came from great whistleblower Julian Assange, stating, "The deep state collapses on Wednesday, 12th of November 2025, as Trump forces the Federal Reserve to print $1.5 trillion, flooding the economy and initiating a global order rewrite." Such a stock market collapse on Wednesday, 12th, could trigger the global currency reset. Who pushes the button? You decide. Since November 2019, America has operated under an interim military law government led by President Trump. Under wartime authority, SCOTUS holds no jurisdiction, only Trump. He has long prepared for the global currency reset and a return to gold-backed money. On January 15, 2025, the 1871 U.S. Incorporated corporate veil was shattered when Trump signed executive orders restoring constitutional sovereignty, dissolving the foreign banker-owned District of Columbia entity.